This is not going to be your typical keyboard video. Today, we're not just going to look at the Lemokey L3 mechanical keyboard from Keychron, but I'm also going to share with you the 3 biggest mistakes I feel like this keyboard is making and what I would like to see differently on the next model. First things first, this is not a sponsored video. Keychron did not pay me to say anything, and I bought this keyboard with my own hard-earned Canadian loonies. And if you're just here for the sound test, I'll leave a timestamp somewhere on the screen so you can just skip ahead to the end of the video. But if you're ready for it, here is my unfiltered review for the Lemokey L3 mechanical keyboard. If you didn't already know, Lemokey is a premium brand from Keychron, and Keychron has been making keyboards since around 2017. And this thing, it is premium. They say on their website that it's not just a tool, it's a piece of art for your desk. And I would agree with that mostly, and here's why. The double gasket design on this keyboard is something that you have to experience. If you're someone like me, where you literally write thousands of words every single day, your fingers and hands will get tired and strained. Their engineers did a great job designing this feature, but that's also reflected in the price because this thing is about $300 Canadian plus shipping. You will see and feel the shock absorption while typing. It also contributes to that thok sound that so many keyboard enthusiasts love to have in their typing. If writing on Apple's keyboard is like stepping on a piece of Lego, then writing on the L3 is like stepping on a piece of memory foam. This thing is a pure delight to type on. It is an experience that you probably will not see in many other keyboards. I ordered this model with the Gateron Red switches, and they're just okay, I'll be honest with you. I was a huge fan of the MX Speed silver switches that were in my previous Corsair keyboard. But one of the nice things about the L3 is that everything is completely hot swappable. I can take this thing apart and lube up my own speed switches and put them in place, and I'll have a brand new keyboard that's tuned to the way I want it. Another thing I like about the L3 is the south-facing RGB backlighting. Now, I know what you might be thinking, and this is probably not a big feature, but it actually really helps the illumination viewing angle, and it's a nice enough feature to have that you will want this on any future keyboard that you own once you've had south-facing RGB lighting. And what's not to love about the build quality of this thing? It weighs about 3 or 4 pounds, which makes it heavy in a good way. It feels really high quality. The body is fully CNC machined aluminum, and it has this sort of like a sandpaper or sandblasted type finish, which does a really good job of hiding fingerprints and skin. The body of the keyboard also perfectly fits the macro keys. Now, I know on some cheaper brand keyboards that have macros, it sort of just looks like a random row of extra switches they added, but not with the L3. It's purposefully designed is how I would call it, and the volume knob is also machined aluminum, and it has really nice satisfying detents similar to a scroll wheel on a nice mouse. Another nice little addition about the macro keys is that because the keycaps are swappable as well, I could technically get something custom made depending on how I have these buttons programmed. The macros and the backlighting and the volume knob, all of the settings are controlled through a piece of software called VIA. And that, my friends, is where the problems with this keyboard started for me. Right out of the box, I could not get this keyboard to connect to the software. I tried the web browser app, the desktop app, it just simply did not work. So I reached out to Keychron. They told me to update the firmware, which was simple enough, but honestly kind of annoying to do on a brand new product. That did fix the connection issue with the keyboard, but I still have issues to this day. And if you can tell me what you think is wrong with it, heck, I'll try to send something your way to help you out. Here's the issue I have. Every time my computer goes to sleep, or any computer goes to sleep that this keyboard is plugged into, the macro keys and the volume knob lose their memory. And the only way to get this memory back is to cycle the power on the keyboard. So that means every single day, at least 2 to 3 times, I have to unplug this thing and plug it back in because when my computer wakes up, it loses the macro key memory. I already reached out to Keychron for this issue, and they actually sent me a whole PCB to replace. I'll actually go and grab it. I'll show you. So they sent me a brand new, presumably because it's a new product, PCB, which stands for printed circuit board. It just took, maybe a few hours, but I still have this problem. So if you know what's wrong with this keyboard and how to prevent it from losing its memory, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say. Now, you're likely a keyboard enthusiast, and that's why you clicked on this video to watch me talk about keyboards. And if you were to ask me, hey Derek, what would you like to see in the ultimate endgame mechanical keyboard? And I would say the L3 is very close, but here are a few things I would like to see done different. I'd want to see the gap between the F keys completely eliminated. Now, if you're a power user like me, you're going to be using your F keys in your daily workflow. But I want the ergonomics of not having to hyperextend the reach of my fingers just to press F1, 2, or 3. I'm a believer that if you can save just a few seconds of doing something, you multiply that over days and weeks and months and even years, you've now saved yourself hours of time. The second thing, and I'm definitely not alone in thinking this, just look at many Reddit threads, I want a thinner keyboard. This thing is chonky. It's over an inch thick, and when you include the keys, you're like an inch and a half, an inch and 3/4. And I had this keyboard apart when I replaced the circuit board. I know for a fact that they can be trimming millimeters, maybe even a quarter of an inch out of this to make the body slimmer. If you're an engineer watching this, maybe you can let me know why so many of these niche and off-brand keyboards, they're intentionally just really thick, and I don't get it. Lots of consumers complain about it, and at the end of the day, who really wants a massive, thick keyboard? Because if you don't invest in a wrist rest like this one here, you're going to be putting your arm at like a very compromised angle just to reach up to the keys. And the third thing I'd want in my perfect endgame keyboard are dedicated media keys. There's really no reason why you can't embed 3 tiny little play, pause, previous, and next track little buttons somewhere around the volume knob. I personally like them over here with ergonomics from the mouse, but there's really no reason why you can't just have 3 small independent keys that you can customize for your media. Now, I know everyone might not want that, but I've had media keys in every single one of my keyboards except for this one. I really miss it. I'll be honest with you, I do. I dig the 75% design, and I'm going to buy a mechanical number pad for auxiliary use later, but I just really want some dedicated media keys. I'll let you know that I'm in Discord basically every single day. If you have any questions about the L3, I'll leave a link to my server in the description. Just feel free to hop in and let me know if you have any questions. I'd of course appreciate a big thumbs up and a subscription to the channel because that's really going to help me out. And without further delay, here is the sound test for the Lemokey L3 mechanical keyboard. I will see you in the next one.